Hey, what's going on, everyone? Bass here. So now that the NFL season is 1/3 of the way done through 6 weeks, I wanted to go over the PFF grades through 6 weeks, the overall outlook on PFF grades for the Green Bay Packers, the high grades, the low grades, how they compare ranking wise for their position throughout the NFL. And if you didn't know already, I do this after every game, every week. But like I said in this video, I'm going to basically compile all the grades, and it's going to be what their grade is right now through 6 weeks of the season. And if you're new here, definitely consider clicking the subscribe button. It definitely helps out my channel a lot. I post Packers content, news, breakdowns, analysis, and all of that. All right, so I'm going to start with the offense. So let's bring up the screen here, and this one should not surprise anyone. He is the Green Bay Packers' highest graded player on offense, or in the entire team, actually, this year so far. It's Davante Adams, 92.4 overall grade, best on the Packers, like I said, and he's also the #1 wide receiver in the NFL for PFF grade. Davante Adams has 46 receptions for 668 yards, 2 touchdowns, and there's not really a debate anymore. Davante Adams is the best receiver in the NFL, and that's not even just talking about PFF. Like, in general, Davante Adams is the best receiver in the NFL. Just been playing so well this year. He's been getting so many targets, and, he's been getting open, so getting all those targets, you expect that. And then with MVS being out the last 3 weeks, definitely got more volume there as well. But like I said, just been playing absolutely wonderful. If you look at his grades over the weeks, Detroit, he had a 87.4. In San Francisco, 91.6. Pittsburgh, 77. Cincinnati had a 93.0. And then against Chicago last week, a 78.4. Just been so good this year. So for the next two on offense, I'm actually going to group them up here, and that is Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. Since they've been such a great duo together, I felt it's kind of right to group them up here. And I want to start with Aaron Jones, an 81.3 overall grade and an 88.9 pass block grade. Aaron Jones is third in the NFL for overall running back PFF grade, and he's also second for running backs for pass block grade. Aaron Jones has been absolutely wonderful this year, and not a lot of people are realizing that he's been such a great pass blocker. I said it in one of my previous videos, that was always kind of Jamal Williams' role. He'd come in on third down, block for Aaron Rodgers out of the shotgun or whatever it may be. Aaron Jones has been put into that role this year, and he's done a masterful job at it. Aaron Jones currently has 83 carries for 385 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then he also has 21 receptions for 166 yards and 4 touchdowns. Aaron Jones, has been a huge part of this offense. Whenever the Packers offense kind of isn't moving or it's getting stale, they just end up giving Aaron Jones the ball 3 or 4 times in a row, and boom, all of a sudden they're down in the red zone, or they've scored at that point already. They can game plan around Aaron Jones. Matt LaFleur loves using Aaron Jones in so many different ways in the pass game, the run game, and that's exactly what he can do. He's such a multifaceted weapon, and I'm so glad the Packers re-signed him. Now for A.J. Dillon, he is graded a 78.8, which is 9th best in the NFL for running backs. So the Packers have 2 top 10 PFF running backs, which is just awesome. And to this point, A.J. Dillon has 49 carries, 225 yards, and he also has 9 receptions for 88 yards and 1 touchdown. As I was saying all offseason, A.J. Dillon is going to get a lot more looks in the passing game. And that's exactly what's happening. He's already, I think, tripled or quadrupled the amount of yards he had last year in the passing game. And I just love what they're doing with A.J. Dillon. Anytime Aaron Jones needs a breather, or they need to run, right up the middle and just, run right at the linebackers, put in A.J. Dillon. He'll plow a couple guys over. Just an awesome runner. I love watching him. Reminds me a little bit of Eddie Lacy, just running through guys. He just keeps his legs churning. He's always pushing the pile. Doesn't really ever seem to go down. Love watching him run. And this is definitely becoming one of the most dangerous backfields in the NFL. Obviously, you have teams like the Browns who would have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, who is just an awesome duo on their own. But I think A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones definitely giving them a run for their money. Now moving on to some of the low grades for the Packers offense through 6 weeks, and the first on this list is Josiah Deguara. He has been the lowest graded Packer on offense with a 45.6 overall grade, a 49.2 receiving grade, 71.9 pass block grade, and a 50.2 run block grade. Deguara just has not been good at all this year. And he did tear his ACL last year, so he could just still be kind of getting into the groove of things, but he only has 2 catches for 8 yards. And as of this point right now, Josiah Deguara has definitely not lived up to that 3rd-round draft choice. But the Packers' 3rd-round draft choice history in general has just kind of always been bad, so it's not really much of a shock. Deguara is the 100th ranked tight end out of 112 total tight ends in the PFF. So like I said, he's way, way down there. One of the worst graded tight ends in the league. So he just hasn't had a good season at all in the receiving game. Like I said, only 2 receptions, and then also in the blocking game. Just hasn't really been the guy the Packers expected him to be thus far. They've been putting Daphne over him when he is healthy, and Daphne is returning to practice, so I would assume he will get reps over Deguara going forward. Next up, we have 4th round draft selection from this year's draft, Bryce Newman. He's kind of in my weekly episodes a lot on the low grades for offense, and rightfully so. He's been the worst graded Packers offensive lineman this year so far, with a 47.9 overall grade. Includes a 54.2 pass block grade and a 43.7 run block grade. Newman has allowed 4 sacks and 10 pressures in 6 games. And as you see here, his only good graded game was Cincinnati, 70.2, but the rest are all, around 50 or below 50. New Orleans was, weirdly enough, his second best game, but other than that, 52 there, 42 there, 44 and 48. He's been a little bit better in the pass block game, but a run block, he just hasn't been good at all. And like I said, Cincinnati was definitely his best game. He did play well there. Bryce Newman is the 87th ranked out of 102 possible guards via PFF. And as I've said in the other videos about like injury updates and whatnot with David Bakhtiari returning, and then soon to be, I guess, Josh Myers, will see the timetable on him. But I do believe Bryce Newman will be the odd man out, because when Bakhtiari returns, that means Elgton Jenkins is going to have to go back to guard. So that means one of Bryce Newman or Jon Runyan has to go to the bench. And in my opinion, I think it will be Bryce Newman. Now, Packers might think otherwise just because they want to keep the right guard where they are at right guard, because Elgton Jenkins is a natural left guard, or they might just move Runyan over to the right or Jenkins over to the right. We really don't know. But in my opinion, Runyan has definitely been playing better than Newman. So if I had to guess, it would be him. Next up for the low grades, we have tight end Robert Tonyan, someone I really wouldn't expect to be on this list before the season started after his really good season last year. Just not the year we expected so far for Robert Tonyan. Tonyan has a 49.5 overall grade, a 52.3 receiving grade, a 15.3 pass block grade. Now, given that is only 2 snaps, but it's still terrible. And his run block grade is a 50.3. He hasn't been good in the run blocking game at all. He's been getting blown up a ton and really just kind of destroying some of the plays that are designed to go near him. His defender he's trying to block is just in the backfield right away. Tonyan only has 92 yards on the year with 1 touchdown. If we look at last year, he had 236 yards and 5 touchdowns through the first 6 weeks, and that's without getting a single catch in the first week, so that's only really in 5 games. I'm really hoping Tonyan can turn it around, because he was such a big part of this offense last year, definitely in the red zone. Aaron Rodgers seemed to always look his way in the red zone. That's why he has so many touchdowns last year. And I think the Packers definitely are missing that. The red zone seems a little bit slower than it was last year, so I think they're definitely missing Robert Tonyan there. So I'm really, really hoping that this is just a slow start for him and he definitely starts to turn it around. Robert Tonyan is the 88th ranked tight end out of a total of 112 tight ends on PFF. So like I said, just not a good start. So now moving over to the defensive side, let's start with the high grades, and you should have guessed this one as well, just like Davante Adams, then this is Devonte Campbell. He's been a godsend at linebacker for us so far this year. It has been a very long time since we've seen a linebacker play like this for Green Bay. He's the highest graded Packer on defense, an 84.7 overall grade, 84.1 run defense grade, 81.5 tackle grade, 59.8 pass rush grade, and an 81.5 coverage grade. He has 41 tackles on the year with only 2 missed and 19 stops. Campbell's allowed 23 receptions on 33 targets for 126 yards, a touchdown, and he also has 2 interceptions. That is 5.5 yards per reception, which is the lowest in the NFL for all linebackers. And Devonte Campbell is the number 1 graded PFF linebacker, and I love saying that. Devonte Campbell is the number 1 graded PFF linebacker. He's 3rd in run defense grade, 5th in tackle grade, 2nd in coverage grade. I am just so happy to finally have a competent linebacker here in Green Bay, and Campbell has just been playing so well. I hope they can keep him for the near future, him being only 28 years old on that 1-year deal. I'm just hoping and praying they can sign him to a longer deal. Next up, we have Rashan Gary, who is the 2nd highest graded Packer on defense with an 80.4 overall grade, 74.7 run defense grade, an 82.1 tackle grade, and a 76.9 pass rush grade. Rashan Gary has 25 pressures on the year, which is 1st on the team right above Kenny Clark. He has 2 sacks, 15 hurries and 10 stops, and he's been the best outside linebacker on the team. Now, obviously, Zadarius Smith has been out, so if he was here, who knows? But he took the jump that we all thought he was going to. Now, he doesn't really have the numbers on the year in terms of sacks with only those 2 sacks, but he's definitely been disruptive. That much has been clear. He's been very disruptive. Rashan Gary is the 13th highest graded outside linebacker in the NFL, and he's actually first in tackle grade and 15th in run defense grade. Now, moving on to the third highest for the Packers defense in grades, and that is Kenny Clark, and he's just been an absolute beast this year. I don't think the PFF grades reflect how well Kenny Clark has been playing. 79.3 overall grade, 69.1 run defense grade, a 46.5 tackle grade, and that's so low because he has missed 4 tackles, and a 75.6 pass rush grade. Kenny Clark, like I said, is second on the team in pressures with 22. He also has 3 sacks, 17 hurries, 18 tackles, and 16 stops. Kenny Clark is the 7th highest graded defensive lineman under PFF, and he's been playing really well under Joe Barry. Like I said, I don't think this grade, even though it's a good grade and he's the 7th highest ranked, I don't think it reflects how well he's been playing. He's just been blowing up plays like multiple times a game. He's just been a complete game wrecker, and he's just been playing so well. So glad to have him down there in the trenches. Now moving on to the low grades for the defensive side, and I kind of wanted to go for people with at least 50 snaps here because there was some really low grades, but under 50 snaps like Ty Summers and whatnot, who's been awful on his own. But first up, we here have Isaac Yadam, who we all know has just been trash this year. 35.6 overall grade, 69.0 run defense grade, 80.0 tackle grade is only good grade, and a 29.8 coverage grade. He's allowed 4 receptions on 5 targets for 69 yards. Nice. And we saw last week him just getting absolutely torched. He really shouldn't see the defensive field again. He's not even the best special teamer at this point. He's not graded well there either. And I wouldn't be shocked if he were to get cut, say, when they activate David Bakhtiari to the 53. Yadam is 179th out of 188 total cornerbacks for both overall and coverage grade. Just disgusting. I mean, at this point, can we have Josh Jackson back? Like, can we do like the Uno reverse card? Just, I don't even care what Josh Jackson's look like. I don't even know what he's looked like. But at this point, just like, can I revert that? And then finally, for low grades on defense, we have the one, the only Tyler Lancaster. He is higher graded than Slayton, I will say, but he has almost double the snaps. So Lancaster has a 51.1 overall grade, a 51.5 run defense grade, a 73.8 tackle grade, and a 54.2 pass rush grade. Lancaster throughout the year with 96 total snaps only has 1 pressure and 5 tackles. That's just not good at all, and he's been just generally a liability when he's out on the field. Lancaster is the 133rd ranked out of 185 total defensive linemen, so again, just terrible. And if TJ Slayton doesn't improve much more this year, not that he won't in future years, but the Packers might have to think about adding a veteran there on the defensive line for, playoff times or late in the year, because right now Lancaster and Slayton just haven't been playing well at all, and you definitely need good depth there at defensive line. And then real quickly, kind of wanted to go over special teams grades as well. The Packers special teams has been absolutely horrible, but I will go over the 3 highest and 3 lowest, and we'll start with the highest. Number 1, we have Jonathan Garvin with a 71.7 grade. Number 2, Shamar Jean-Charles with a 71.5 grade. I have seen Shamar a lot on special teams. He looks really good there. So although he's not really getting out on the defensive field just yet, he is playing well on special teams. And then third is Ty Summers, a 66.5. Really, Ty Summers should only play special teams. Like, there's no reason he should be out on defense, and that was very clear. And then as for the lowest on special teams, number 1, Josiah Deguara, so he's pretty much sucks at everything, 39.2. Number 2, Hunter Bradley, 40.5. Hasn't really been a great long snapper. That's probably why the Packers have been protecting their other long snapper on the practice squad. And then third is A.J. Dillon with a 44.3, but A.J. Dillon shouldn't be on special teams anyway, so I'm not really even worried about that. Now moving on to team PFF grades, the Packers are the 12th overall best team via PFF with that 77.8 grade here. And then if we go to offense here, the Packers are 8th with that 78.9. If we go to passing offense, they are 15th with a 76.4. Pass block offense, they are 8th with a 69.8. For receiving, they are number 3 with an 80.3. Thank Davante Adams. For running, they are number 4 with a 83.6. And for run blocking, they are 27th with a 55.8. So the fact that they're 4th for running and 27th for run blocking shows how good, A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones have been, because the run blocking via PFF just hasn't been good. And then if we move over to defense, they are 14th in total PFF defensive grade with a 65.8. Run defense, they are 14th as well with a 62.6. For tackle, they are number one. Packers are number one tackling team via PFF with a 73.4. That is a huge change of pace from recent years where it seemed like the Packers couldn't tackle anyone, always missing tackles back in the, Mike Pettin, even Dom Capers days. It just seems like everyone missed tackles. So it is a great breath of fresh air to see them being the number one tackling team right now. And then as for pass rush, they're 17th here with a 71.8. And for coverage, they are 14th as well with a 60.8. And then if we move to special teams, we have the top here with the Saints, and we have to scroll all the way down to 32nd for the Green Bay Packers with a 47.3. The next lowest, is a 56.4. So it's not even close. The Packers are just god-awful on special teams. I don't really understand why they promoted someone from the same coaching staff when that unit was already terrible. Whatever, the Packers have a horrible special teams coach. Or special teams unit, I guess coach too, but probably will have a new coach next year. So that about does it for the PFF grades through 6 weeks of the NFL season. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Are you surprised by any of these? Are you, not surprised by some of these? I would assume so. Some people like Yadam and Lancaster and whatnot. Just leave your thoughts down in the comments below. But on that note, I'll catch you on the next one. And as always, go Pack Go.